I'd like to call this regular Board of Selectmen meeting to order, Columbia Board of Selectmen, Tuesday, March 19, 2024. This is a hybrid meeting, public can attend, we have some here, or in person or electronically. If you'd like to get on, you can raise your hand. If you're on electronically, you can try to look up every now and then or submit something in the chat. Anybody who's disruptive, we will actually cut you off or ask you to leave, and but we never had that, so I think we'll be okay. So let's join me with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one indivisible with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I move to approve the agenda as presented. Second. Dean Brad, not ready for something, all set? All those in favor? Aye. I move to approve the Board of Selectmen regular meeting minutes with the budget workshop for March 5th, 2024. Second. Comment? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Audience of citizens. Old business. Nobody's raised their hand on that.
Let me just check, yeah. Yeah, no one's, okay, no one's in the election.
Back in August, I believe it was, we created approved the creation of a Columbia Garden Club. And they've already started working and making some changes. And the only problem is they have yet to be able to start a fundraising for the club. And also get some money from us if we can. So we're gonna.
We haven't done any funding for the club.
Okay.
But
so what we're trying to do is we're gonna try and give them some money, and they're also gonna try and do fundraising.
Well, they're gonna try to do fundraising, and we're gonna try to create a fund, so any
Funds they get,
or that we give
first we'd
them.
like to start it.
Right, first we need to start the fund. We created a committee, now we need a fund.
All right. So, because we'll be doling out the dollars that they raise and give to us.
In advance, we need to get them some seed funding so they can get going. They've already targeted $1,200 that they want to beautify the library and these grounds as soon as flowers are available.
A lot of seed.
It's a lot of flowers. And most people.
Okay. All right, the first order of business, I move to authorize the creation of a Columbia Garden Beautification Fund to cover the costs to maintain the town gardens and public areas. This will be funded through fundraising efforts by the committee and town appropriations, if we choose to give them anything. Any discussion on that? We have to set up the fund.
So this is just to
Create a fund that we would then track. It would never, it'd be like a capital fund. It would always be there, just like
so
the
do we
dog
have to
fund.
approve some money right now?
Well, that's a separate discussion.
Ah,
Right now, you're creating a fund that we could put money. Right, Bev will maintain the fund, like donating for food bank.
Like the open space fund.
Yes.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All right, now. They'd like a little seed money to get this thing rolling, we're gonna get a fundraiser. Well, they've asked for $1,200 and I'd like to have a little buffer in there, so. I move to approve the transfer from contingency, $2,000 as a start for the funding of the Columbia Garden Beautification Committee Fund. Okay. So, I asked Mark, we we have $71,000 in our contingency. I think we can squeeze $2,000 out to help them, a group of people who are making us look better. I don't know how you can do that, but they're gonna try and make us look better every time. So, any discussion?
This is just a one time for now, and it's as needed, it'll be.
Brought through the budget process, so to see how well they do raise money.
One time for now.
I'll start someone. Yeah, you did. It'd be nice if they're willing to do the work with her.
Yes. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Okay, new business. Alright.
For your signature, and then
Rec Park baseball field requested repairs and maintenance. Please.
So, the drainage effort we did last year, we put 3 giant curtain drains in the outfield of the Little League baseball field. It's working. There's no lake there, which is a miracle. There's the outfield lake in right field. Unfortunately, now that drainage all went and wiped out our volleyball court. So now we have to fix the drainage on the back of the volleyball court, because all that sand is down the walkway. And we're making a big retention pond. We walked the field with Mike Curtis, a retired engineer in town. You want to give thoughts to Stephen and I, and Public Works has the whole game plan for working on drainage. We're also hiring Michael Zaki. It's in Beth's budget, he's handled already. Michael Zaki is actually our animal control officer. We'll talk about him later. But on the kids' side business, he specializes in ball field. He does all the fields with, I think, Colchester, Hampton, all around here, Andover. But he has specialized equipment. He's gonna cut the edges of the grass, till the infield, add more clay. I think Public Works will help him by delivering the materials that'll be used in upgrading all 3 ball fields. The athletic director at the school was not happy. Unfortunately, the natural migration of stones comes up through a Little League infield, so pebbles and stones rise to the top. You need to till them, bring them back down, and put the fines on top.
They didn't do that.
Oh, no.
They used to have all the parents, they'd have a day, and they would walk the field with buckets, and they'd pick up all those stones, because you can till them under, they're coming back up.
We don't do that anymore.
Why not?
I don't know.
That's what they did.
But we have a
I
game plan.
did it. Huh.
Well, we have a game plan for that. We also are going to oversee the outfields. Through the relationship Kyle has with Glastonbury, we're gonna borrow their mats that will cover the seed and allow it to germinate while the weather's not perfect for germination. And that'll get the grass growing, and we'll take the mats off by the time the weather's better, to get a jump start on feeding the field too. So all that's in the works. And the dugouts. The school's not happy with the dugouts in the Pony League field. Is that what we call it? What's the big?
Yeah.
Very good.
Yes, that field. Everybody calls it something different.
The Pony League field is the 8th grade field, whatever.
So those dugouts are being minorly repaired, but we have money in a fund, a rec park fund. From renting the fields and the pavilions and all, to build 2 new dugouts, so all fields have the same dugout. So our Dan Johnson will lead that effort and use some subcontractors. We can't do that. Well, we just built those, but what is it? It's
Build
built
dugouts for the girls,
and
build
the little,
dugouts for the little league.
not the Pony League. Pony League is old carefree sheds that are parked on each side of the.
They've been up there for years.
And the roofs are falling off.
So what's this costing?
Nothing more, it's all within. the budget. I'm just giving you an update.
That's not an answer. It costs something.
It costs $5,000 to do the subcontracting of the infield, the 3 infields, and the Public Works is doing the rest. So it's costing time and labor of our men to roll out mats and seed and do all they're doing. It costs the time of Dan Johnson to
I
rebuild
don't
those.
worry about the dugouts, Dan, you know, he does everything we ask him to do, and that's why we have the injunction.
So we're going to have Brian learn shadow micrography and everything he does, and then at some point we'll decide is there some of that equipment that we should own, so we can do the deal long run ourselves. But at the moment, that equipment's expensive and it's not in our budget, and we're learning how to. do
How did,
it.
how did the AD come into this? You said the AD,
He said that the rocks in the drill softball field aren't acceptable for playing softball. And one other thing, we're gonna make the base path wider in the 8th grade ball field so that our sand scraper can just go right down the infield. For some reason, we have really narrow running path on that ball field. So because we don't play state championship games on that field, we're gonna make the run path a little wider in this reconstruction. So we can
we
more
don't,
easily
we don't play statewide
state tournaments on that field,
on the, which field?
Pony field.
Okay, because you know, last year, the Little League got very upset because we didn't play, tournament games on that field. That'll never happen with the Pony League? Tournament games?
I will verify that before we buy
And
it.
tell me about the, scoreboard for the Little League, so I know about it, can you please tell the other members of the board?
Yes, for the last year and a half, we've been waiting for the new scoreboard. Every month it was in a truck on its way, never arrived. Finally, the owner came and gave us our deposit back and said that the manufacturer he subcontracted with decided to get out of the scoreboard business. So our contract was, he returned our deposit and he said, this is my recommendation for who you need to go to get a scoreboard. So we have a scoreboard on order. It's going to be black. The league said black is fine. For some reason, the other scoreboards are blue. But this one will be black because black is the most common scoreboard and is available now.
How's the price compare?
It's equal to the scoreboard, but because we changed the color, so we could actually have a scoreboard for Little League, we have to change the lower signs. Also black, we're reprinting signs, so it's going to cost an extra $4,000.
I thought we were gonna do black and leave those green.
You could do that if
Nothing.
the scoreboard company would allow it, and they won't allow any increased square footage of a scoreboard, because then you have to replace the entire base, because now the square footage is larger and it's no longer covered for engineering, and the wind won't blow over the scoreboard.
So Little League, the club Little League in town. They do fundraising, have a lot of fundraising, and do they have a lot of money?
I don't know. But the scoreboard was handled by the Lions and by Little League. So they funded a majority of the scoreboard.
So, is that funded somewhere, we're gonna have to do a transfer?
No, we're taking it out of money we have for rec. There's no transfer.
Anybody have any other questions about that?
It was quite the process fitting it.
7.2, discussion regarding gate access and keys. Okay, how many, do we know how many keys we loaned out for the lake last year?
Exactly, I think we
Give me a
had
guess,
only
50? Okay,
47.
50. Read that about. again. So here's the thing. We can't keep track of people letting in boats that may or may not have been inspected. Boats that may or may not have had their registration and their engine size checked, their cleanliness checked, because it's done with a phone call. Hey, I'm trying to get my boat in, it's not open, can you let me in? Yeah, I'll do right down, let you. Or, hey, there's a big boat going in at 10 o'clock at night. Or somebody's doing this. It doesn't have a key, or the gate is open. That's happened numerous times. People put their boats on their trailers, are all happy about that, hooking up drive off,
I forget.
and then it's over. This initially was to appease the 4 o'clock in the morning fishermen.
Right.
Fisher Beach, whatever. And now it kind of got a little out of hand. You know, honestly, I do love the lake. I joke all the time. You help me in this position if we just drain the lake. I get it. But I do love the lake. Okay, I go down there and like it down there. People love it down there. I like going down there, just standing there and watching people have a good time. It's what Columbia is about. But if we can't police this, and I use that term as if we, as a community, cannot do this correctly as it's intended, and the lake gets invasive species, or we have neighbor against neighbor because something's wrong on the lake, their boat is too fast, they're doing this, and that's not on the ticket, and then what happens? Okay, so I'm asking for thoughts. We could put a push button lock on there, but it's the same kind of thing. Hey, I'm standing down here, it's late, I wanna put my boat on there, they're not open, okay, use my code. It happens, so,
Is there video surveillance there?
Yes,
yeah,
How long is, the other question, how long is the fishing season normally?
people fishing there all summer, right?
it's into the winter.
April,
Yeah. It's the summer.
So the active for fishing. What happens is the trout, I think, fishing, depending on.
We fish
for the year round.
Yeah, if you catch and release, I think you can fish. Talking to somebody today.
they get there early, so they get there before any of the lifeguards do.
Yeah, like I say they do.
I've,
But they do.
I've seen them early.
Yeah, if they're not catching the Coventry, they zip right over at 4 in the morning.
Hmm.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So, you know, I'm asking, I'll do whatever, you wanna, I know they're gonna scream at us in 2 weeks, you know. We're a big voting group and everything else, I get it, but I wanna make sure we're doing best for the lake.
What does LMAC wanna do?
LMAC has not advised yet the Board of Selectmen of any motion. There's been discussion leaning towards stopping or postponing or canceling until further notice and a solution that works can happen. Because the current solution is scaring LMAC as well as you all. Very regular 34 days.
So Mary, here's what I'm gonna ask you to do, out of that, right there. The next LMAC meeting, we're not putting anything on the lake for a while. And if people come and scream, I'm gonna say to them, when the lake is choked out, you'll be here screaming. And it'll be worse. So bring it up to LMAC and see if they can put it out and say, please come to the meeting with some ideas. You know, like, let's bring it up then. I mean, this came up the other day, somebody came in and said, how do we get a key? You know, we're new, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna think about the key.
So if I could add, Stephen, I get the news from Deep in a magazine. They're just starting a project. Hydrilla is taking over the Connecticut River. They're doing a test project in Chester, Deep River, and East Haddam. Because you can't drive a boat through Hydrilla. It's choking out the coves in the river.
Yeah,
2 things. LMAC did discuss every person, if they were allowed to keep 4 reasons, which maybe should be outlined, different emergency repair, CLA president could provide that personal code be used, so that it is captured by video and captured on a code. And at least we know who did it. However, I would say to the hydrilla issue, there's already hydrilla in Coventry. We know fishermen go from Coventry to here. And the new hydrilla is a whole new strain that's already impacted 3 lakes. More up in the northwest part of Connecticut. It's scary. It's scary.
Now it's hydrilla, it's invasive.
It's the worst invasive weed you could get in a lake.
The most quickest growing, most rapid growing. It's scary.
And maybe until further notice,
So-
we may have to fix somewhere else
Well,
in the early mornings and.
Is there any possibility the gate, yeah, because nobody from rec is really there until.
Right, really, the earliest the gate opens is 10.
And
Well, someone from rec is there at 8, but. Usually, I think the gate monitors, which is Marine Patrol, and gate monitors are combined, started at 10.
Okay.
Educate me as to how active the gate is normally. Weekends and weekdays during the summer.
weekends during the summer, you could have upwards of 10 people trailering boats onto the lake, maybe more. If it's a beautiful weekend, they're ready. During the week, not so much, maybe 3 or 4.
But in the beginning of the season, when the residents are putting the boats in, it's very busy, in the very beginning.
And that's fine, if we know that, we can staff for it and we can check the boats going in. Honestly, I
Do you
don't know,
do like the dump? And you pick a couple days where you have extra people there?
we could do that. Honestly, I'm gonna lean on LMAC here. Most of LMAC is made up of people who live on the lake. They're truly not my concern when they get on the lake, because usually they come through the gate, they go through, they're checked and stuff, and they have a lot to lose if that, something happens with that lake. But they do have to follow the rules. But there are people on LMAC who have lent out their key for,
But you can't get a boat on the lake until it's inspected and improved.
think so?
registration. That's our rule.
right, exactly.
I agree with Lisa though, why don't you just have a very narrow window of time where you can put your boat on the lake, have it staffed during that narrow window of time?
Yeah.
Yeah, and are there temporary docking, or whatever like that, where, I mean, they bring.
Moorings. There are
Yeah,
moorings
right,
there.
right.
Last year,
Right, but I'm saying you can have them temporarily there, so if I wanna go fishing on Saturday, my window of whatever, Friday between 10 and 5, whatever, I have to dock it and can put it there and. I leave
yeah,
it.
but we should be heavily staffed Friday evening
Yeah.
and Saturday, Sunday. This having somebody there Monday through Thursday.
Right.
For 8 hours, 4 or 5 hours.
Monday through Thursday.
Right,
And
exactly.
you don't have a key, you eliminate the key system, and you have somebody there, who's an employee, who inspects the boats in a very narrow window of time. Lets them in, and that's it, and as far as the reaction by the community. If we have such a risk to the lake, as far as invasive species, you can justify what you're doing.
Right.
Is how, I mean, do most people follow the rules? Is it just a few people that are a problem, or it's hard to tell?
like anything else, I think most people try to follow the rules, particularly if they've lived on the lake for a long time and understand what we used to call the code of ethics.
Yeah.
There are new people on the lake. A lot of homes have been sold lately who are just learning the ropes. And may or may not. Some are actually asking us for advice and or the regulation. Others are just.
Alright, so, you talk down there, but I will tell you that I think, I too, I'm gonna look at the hours and stuff. And I'll send it out to the board of selectmen for you to look at a revision of high traffic time. And see what we can do, because I also thought that so many hours open. But we were covering the days because the rec department is down there, they're housed in there, they're supposed to be available. To go out and check them both Monday through Friday to let people on because they're there. I think we could have a call ahead Monday through Friday and just staff it. Maybe Friday.
And Anika said, some people do actually make an appointment, say, I'm gonna be down there Wednesday at 11, will someone be there to open the gate?
Could they make appointments when they wanna be there? Is that shouldn't be too much to ask.
Yeah, then you also need receptionists, because they're not sitting in their office waiting to answer the phone at appointment.
Yeah.
To your point, LMAC did discuss, and we understand Anika and the boat Mark,
Well, Brian, all.
Brian.
The title marine patrol.
addressed on, 2 meetings ago,
Mhm.
last week. And one of the things we came up with was there are at least 2 marina owners, Schifrin and Pete,
And Gary.
and they have the majority of boats that they put on this lake. Before any boat is put on any waterway in the state of Connecticut, you must show your current registration.
Mhm.
And in the town of Connecticut, you must show that your boat meets inspection, objectives,
Right.
including horsepower, right size engine, et cetera, as well as testing for invasive species. So one of the thoughts that came up was, why don't whoever's in charge of registration, Brian or Nika, go down with Chip. Chip's gotta show the new current registration, or Pete, and then inspect the boat, and then identify a time when they're gonna put all, I mean, there's gotta be 50 boats in Chip Schifrin's yard right now.
Really?
On Route 66.
Yeah, but shit's not the problem, you know.
No, you're absolutely right, but at least to get on the lake, we're doing the right thing when the season starts.
Yeah.
The exception to the rule are those couple of boats who want the keys, and you're not sure where they came from.
All right, you back to me. I'll send it out.
I think you gotta tighten up the keys,
Yeah.
or eliminate the keys. you know?
I do too. I threw this on there because I just know, next year or in 5 years, somebody's gonna come before and go, we need $200,000 to treat the lake.
Coventry spending 100,000 a year.
They're about 150 over Coventry now, annual, and it doesn't even eradicate. It keeps it where it's bad.
And it's like chemicals.
Exactly.
That's the only way you're gonna kill
All right.
Chemicals, yeah,
We'll
chemicals aren't good for us.
sit down and, all right, at least I have, request from the Connecticut Cycling Advancement Program to use Columbia Roads for the breakaway benefit on May 18th. Okay, I move to approve the request from Connecticut Cycling for the breakaway benefit bike race through Columbia. Wait, they give us a copy of the route, I thought I saw it. And, it's the same, we do all the time. That was a different one, but they're gonna have support vehicles, personal,
That's fine.
yeah, they're using back roads, it's safer than,
Yeah.
have maybe our police officer with the grant,
We'll notify him that it's happening.
and, any discussion? All those in favor?
That's
Aye.
fine.
Opposed, thank you. Okay, discussion supporting LMAC's recommendation for a pilot program in the town of Beach Cove to repair damage to the lake bottom resulting in erosion. I've taken a walk around a couple of places in the lake, and the amount of water that's pouring into the lake from pipe.
Everywhere?
Everywhere, but in the lake and stuff, it's like eroding the bottom, it's at the point where it's, burdening the strain on footings for docks and stuff, it's like eroding around the footings and stuff, and the docks could have some trouble. But, so I talked to Mary Rickle, and, she said, well, let me put something together, and I want you to tell us about it, and you've gone over it with me a little bit, but please, I'm looking at it and I still want to hear it again because.
Yeah, and thank you, Steve. Based on my discussion with Steve, and this actually started 2 years ago, I'd like to provide the Board of Selectmen with background, the objective of this pilot project that we're recommending from LMAC. I'm speaking on behalf of LMAC. And then what that motion was to the Board of Selectmen. Real quick, 3 points of background. There are actually 2 issues. And the major area that Steve is referring to is if you're looking at the lake, I've got the town beach, and I'm looking at the lake to the right of the town beach is a drain pipe from Hennequin Road that drains into the lake. In that cove area, there have been two things that have been happening. Historically, for decades, the sand from the town beach has eroded and migrated into that cove. That's the second issue, we'll get back to that. In the last 3 to 5 years, that drain pipe that comes from Pennaquin, with the increased precipitation and particularly rain, not snow, that comes in easier. The intensity of the rain, the flooding we've seen all over our town and all over the state of Connecticut. And the second point is that has created an erosion bed in that whole cove area from the drain pipe, of which I have pictures I will show you, is totally eroded. It has impacted one dock already, which is a private property dock with permission to use the lake bed. It's been there for 30, 40, 50 years. In addition, that sand that is eroding around the cove has now started to fill in, and it's filling in not only the lake bed, but stairs to the on private property into the lake. So we have a twofold issue, and we'd like to address it short term, the erosion, long term, the sand migration from the town beach. Okay, so that's the background. Some of this has been happening for decades. As a matter of fact, Steve verified this. We used to have sand go into that cove from the town beach, and we used to scoop it up and put it back. We used to dredge it and put it back. For whatever reason, in 2022, 2023, and this year, we have not done that. So there's now significant sand in that cove, which the pictures will show. So our element was, we believe, as you will see in the pictures, that it's time for immediate as well as long-term solutions. Unfortunately, the immediate solution we were looking for didn't happen because the lake water came up much quicker than we thought. We were actually going to ask that erosion be filled in and regraded. And we had researched with our lake consultant that we could do that without a permit. Typically, if you're working in water, the Army Corps of Engineers requires a permit. However, if your lake is drawn down, there's no water, we could have regraded immediately, but the water came up, so no, we can't do that. We're looking to do that in the next drawdown, which would be next fall. So that was an immediate solution. The longer term solution is the motion that we're presenting to you tonight. And that is what we're calling a pilot project. And I will, as I read the motion to you, I will hand out that motion. We're just looking to initiate a pilot project specific to the town beach pipe that is right next to the town beach. As you will see in the picture, the erosion has become so significant. There are recreational impacts to docks, there are environmental impacts because fish will not spawn in sand. And when you see the amount of sand that is there and the amount of erosion, we now have environmental issues. So we can't conduct emergency repairs. We are going to ask you to do that. What we are asking is in this pilot project, a collaborative effort, a subcommittee from LMAC with Mark Walter, with Beth Blunt, with consultants as needed to identify the best option to stop the erosion coming from that drain pipe. One of the options is called a velocity dissipation device. Oh my God, that's a big term for putting lots of rock that the pipe water from the drain will go on the rock, kind of settle down and not forcefully go in and create a leak.
Actually, it would be diverted.
And or diverted.
And half moon type of things, two of them and diverted left, so it didn't do this, it kind of goes left and up, pushes the sand back.
Mark asked at LMAC on March 6th that a subcommittee, which was myself, Jim Santos, Mike Scalisi, and Norton Carrington from LMAC, that we report back to him on how big is this issue. And as you see in the pictures, there are 5 sections. We labeled them section 1 to section 5 in a cove area that's well over 150 feet of seawall if not 200 going around Newford Drive, where you're seeing sand fill in, and then section 2 is that erosion. And the significant, as you can see from that pipe on coming from Hennequin Road, erosion, it's 40 feet long, it's at least 2 feet in depth. That's just totally eroded. And that, as you see, it's impacting one of our docks already in the dock post. It's kind of leaning a little bit. Our fear is the more erosion and the more sand, the more issues we're gonna have recreationally in that cove, if not beyond, because there are those on Newford Drive who feel it will impact them. So it's impacting our residents, and environmentally, we really feel and have talked to our lake consultant about the inability for fish to spawn. And it's significant part of the lake where fish typically spawn. So hopefully, we're asking whether it's an official motion from the Board of Selectmen or a blessing that you will approve the collaborative effort of LMAC working with the town. We have 3 people on LMAC, 2 who are experienced and have worked and are familiar with this dissipation device that is being recommended, and 1 who is has a connection to a hydrologist, a water specialist who has done this for them. So can't guarantee that he'll be free, but we may be able to get some advice. And the other is Mike Curtis. Mark, I think you mentioned it before.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for the great knowledge and, you know, the passion there. And for keeping it under 5 minutes, you did very well. And but I'd like to to be honest with you, Mary does a tremendous amount of work. But I want to mention Mike Curtis. He, you know, he called me and he said, listen, there's a lot of drainage problems and washouts and everything up at Rec Park. He and I took a ride up there and we looked at a couple of other things. And he said, you know, there's a couple of people who are retired, semi-retired engineers and stuff, and I'm gonna put the word out and see if they'd like to have a little committee that kind of helps out a little bit with our knowledge, instead of the town having to continue to hire paid engineers. I know people are in business, I get it. But we would have to get guidance from them and then probably push it through our town engineers.
What's the scope of this committee? Is this, you know, address the problems with the roads as well, or is it just focusing on the lane?
We actually took a look at 3 culverts and walked half of Doubleday Road. So
But the 3 culverts are not the lake.
no, they're not Little Lake.
That's what Bill's asking. Are these combined as one committee, or do we have a lake committee and a road committee?
Mark, you asked LMAC to be our subcommittee on stormwater drainage, because we've been doing it for 2 years and learning and had a lot more to learn, to join this town's stormwater drainage.
Right, so I'm just wondering, that's what Bill's question is, are we creating 2 committees in one?
Do you have a committee now? Are we gonna do a committee for the other?
We haven't formally made the committee through Board of Selectmen yet.
And we don't have, and
And we have tentative members who have volunteered, but we don't have it locked in.
Yeah, Dave Geiser spoke to me, he was interested in getting.
Oh, good, that was another Dave I wanted to talk to. Good, thank you, Doc.
Jane, can you make sure we put that in the notes, Dave Geiser, and get a number and give a holler.
So right now, we have Mike Curtis, Dave Geiser,
Geiser.
Paul Kurdanovitz was interested, and Susan Spickle's husband was an engineer, and he expressed an interest.
Okay, everybody, send the names in.
Paul Kurdanowitz,
we know Paul.
and, he said Tom's, that's Susan's husband, Susan Spickle. He was an engineer.
And Mary, you said it's,
From LMAC, Bob Miller, Jim Santos, and or myself.
Bob Miller, Jim Santos, and Mary Rocco from Elmet. Okay,
We're already that subcommittee.
right,
Okay,
did you want to make a motion to create the,
I do, where am
I haven't written. So we're gonna make it up right now.
unless somebody has thought of all this So we were talking, it says,
A motion to create a town subcommittee to advise the board of selectmen and the public works director
on any,
on both road drainage issues and erosion issues concerning both roads and lake. Both road and lake drainage issue and erosion issue.
and,
And advise back to the board of selectmen.
you can add the, recreation areas also.
Too much water.
Thank you.
We need less rain.
You need my friend.
Don't say, I would never say that out loud,
Never.
never, ever, ever. You just take what comes, you don't hear a thing. And it's speak salmon all the time, it's dry as salmon. Right, and we're winding with water. Say it. You'll learn that one.
I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
all set. So that's the motion. Everybody got it? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Populated. Great.
Yes. Understanding we have a new committee now that's larger than LMAC subcommittee, and LMAC's motion to do this pilot project. We have a sense of urgency because of the damage that's done on the lake, for the erosion as well as the sand migrating off the town beach. Would it be possible that you would bless this pilot project so that we can hopefully have a solution in place by next drawdown, which would be November of this year?
I think we're already working on that solution.
As long as the board blesses it.
Yeah, I guarantee
Yeah, we're
that when the drawdown happens, the first thing we're going to be looking at is that cove area.
Okay.
I promise you.
What we'd like to do is have everything in place so we're ready to go
Yeah.
at the drawdown.
Well, we were already drawing up, plans for the diversion, the water diversion with the rocks. That was almost ready to go. And, you know, at the point I had to make a decision, do we open the dam again or the gate and drain a foot of the lake? And then all of a sudden we get no rain and then we don't have any water. And I gotta be, the erosion is not affected when the lake is full.
Correct.
And the sand is already there, so.
The
We would-
silver lining, Steve, of the water coming up quickly is it does give us time to be ready to go, not only with fixing the drain pipe, and there are at least 2 LMAC members who have experience with the device that want to weigh in on either is it gonna solve the issue and or are we gonna use the right material?
Right.
Okay, the second issue is the sand coming off the foundation
Yeah, I know that.
has to be addressed.
Oh, we're clear. We're crystal clear on that because I got different versions of, and also a different history lesson. One from 30 years ago to 2 years ago, and one from 3 years ago to the present. We're all set. We're crystal clear on that.
Thank you.
We will be.
So I can go back to
recapturing
LMAC and say, we'll move forward and.
We're ready. We'll be ready.
Okay.
I don't think we have to pass the motion on pilot.
Thank you.
Believe me, your background on this and I got it.
Thank you.
We covered-
Anything else on the lake?
All right, appointments, resignations, the resignation of Melissa McKim Cuevas, we talked about that, the animal control officer has been, made official.
Right.
And a reappointment of Mike Ozaki, the animal control officer, we talked about that, so I moved to reappoint Mike Ozaki as animal control officer. In the body town,
Right.
animal control.
Town and East Hampton, oh, yeah.
All those in favor? Opposed? And I move to reappoint Allison Lou as assistant animal control officer. He was, he's going out
That's
there.
okay. Mike brought it back.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And, Marjorie Golden Hoffler has resigned from Kona. How many members of Kona do we have left? 3?
Yes. But right now, they don't have a quorum for a committee. They're in limbo.
Yeah, but they have a voice and people who are listening in the town, so. I don't care what they contact us and they keep us honest and posted and stuff, so that's fine. Town administration report.
And so, just so everybody's aware, we have early voting coming up March 26th, 27th, 28th, and 30th. From 10 to 6 p.m. It'll be staffed with both parties and a moderator, and you'll have to, we had to change our vaults. Both now have electronic locks. We had to fix the old vault so that the voting machines would be locked in the old vault. And, this is the first test of early voting, but there's a 7-day period coming up and then a 14-day period of early voting. At which time we have to notify the exercise classes that they have to go elsewhere. They can't use no.
How many voting machines we have to drag out every day?
Oh, imagine.
One?
They were testing today. Oh, yeah, good stuff.
Right, so for early day voting, there is no machine, it's put in an envelope in your bag. So the only time it gets put into the tabulator is actually on the original real long day voting. So, and that's taking place at the school.
So we'll lock the bag up in the vault at night.
Maybe.
The content, right, the content, hopefully, right, from what I learned tonight, the content of each bag is going to be put in a sealed envelope and given to the town clerk to lock up every evening.
Okay.
Because we don't have 5 bags.
Is there a rule about two-person integrity?
I think you have more than one
Oh, yeah.
person.
Just wondering if it's written into the rules. I don't care who does it either. I trust everybody. They're good people and stuff like that. I'm just wondering if they thought of it, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah.
reporting and seals that are done by the moderators, observed by the registrar.
Okay.
It's a good program, early voting.
Okay, and that. I haven't really voted. I think it's bad.
Yeah, but there's a whole lot more than that. Go ahead, I'm really. So you were. We highlight that, so.
Okay. So we brought another topic back, Economic Development Commission met and felt that this would be a good idea to help promote and incentivize businesses to relocate or to do investments and expand onto their footprint through curriculum machinery or the actual building. So many towns around us have a tax business incentive program. It's governed by state statute 12-65B. And what we have is the actual tax incentive program that I put into East Haddam, but it's very similar to all the towns around us. But one thing that I just became aware of in talking to the town attorney is the legislation recently allowed, and I didn't know this when I talked to you, Steve, that you can modify the original property tax assessment to, right now, the original was anything above 25,000, you could do it 3 years, abating at 50% a year. Anything above 500,000, first year 80, second year 70, and anything above 3 million, you could go 7 years with dropping down 10% a year in tax abatement. So what's allowed now is that you can modify those percentages in up to 10 years So effective October 1st, 2022, allows municipalities to fix property assessment for various types of real estate development projects for up to 10 years. Specifically allows municipalities to fix the assessment increase resulting from improvements made to real property for a specific purpose. In doing so, exempting the value of improvement from the property tax. So what I gave you here tonight was just something to consider. I think I need to even do a little more research and talk and get feedback from your board as to what you think would be an equitable reduction for the dollar of investment. Thank you.
I've always been in favor of this because if there's an empty building. And we're getting minimal taxes from it when it's empty. And the business wants to move in there. And they bring a lot of equipment, they just bring, you know,
Jobs.
and all of a sudden, it's like, okay, it will provide taxes eventually. So if, you know, if they say to you, we'll do that if you help us out with taxes over a 5-year period or 8-year period. To me, you weren't getting the taxes you could when they're in there, so what, you get a little less, you get more and more and more when it matures and it's successful. It seemed like a good deal to me, so I like this.
So you're partnering in advancing the development of our commercial tax base.
So, so read this, take this and read it. Just to give your thoughts on it and everything. I'll sit down and talk with Mark. I asked him, why can't we do more than for $500,000, 80-70 and then nothing? And we thought it was the law, and now we see we can do more. So take a look at that. That's some ideas, but I'd like to close that out, vote on it next meeting, okay?
So get back to me.
In this, future looking for new businesses coming or retroactive for recent business?
No, new businesses and those who do additional improvements, I guess, as you said.
Yeah,
But you only get a tax abatement on the improvements.
on improvements, and you might be able to, someone who's started before the abatement's in place, the board might be able to accept it. So it's up to the board's selectmen. And actually, not only board selectmen, but my understanding was this board selectmen 5-pack and a town meeting to approve that abatement. So because it affects future tax collection.
So is that 87 or 80-70 from 25 to 500?
Yes, 25,000 to 500,000.
So when you go from, it's project value, so if it's 100,000.
You'd be, if it's 100,000, if it's 100,000, you're 50-50-50.
Okay,
Above 500,000, you're 80-70, and above 3 million. But
that just wasn't clear.
this was law, you couldn't
Yeah.
change those now, they've given us some more flexibility.
Okay. Next.
TextMyGov will eventually launch April 1st. So on the website, there's the little, what's it called? The widget on our website. And if you type in the code, text in the code on your phone, it will allow you to then receive text messages once you accept it. It'll send you a message saying, hey, this is what you just signed up for, do you want it? Say yes. You're not actually downloading anything on your phone. It's just, you're texting a code to allow you to use TextMyGov. And then you'll be allowed to use 3 different subcategories. You can do Park and Rec, Senior Center,
And then
and
town hall
and then
application.
so you can sign up for all 3, or you could say, all I want to know about is Park and Rec. So it should be a great tool. We've heard huge things about the towns that have adopted it. And it'll give Jen and I a tool to pump information out to the residents. And the residents can actually say, hey, there's a tree down on here, don't you, at this address. So we'll go right away. Next. Your final town audit reports are in front of you. Both the federal, state, and the full audit. We passed with flying colors, there were no sanctions against us. Found by the auditors, so that's always good news. And now we can get out our annual report. We'll be working on that next. And Hunt Road Bridge Culvert, we're, right now, the whole box culvert's built. The next thing they have to do is weatherproof the sides with a laminate coating of some sort, and then they have to build the wing walls, and then they have to backfill. And then by then, that should be mid-April. The plant should be open for paving. And we expect to be done by the end of April now. So,
Water's moving through quick. Up there,
did you look at it?
yeah, looks good.
Yeah, it does. I was impressed. Hop Road Bridge is officially closing April 1st. The deconstructing of the original culverts, start Monday,
How long will it be closed?
5 years. Don't kid.
5
I'm trying to get it done in one season. We're trying to get it done before the winter.
I think by December.
Right, but everyone's scared to death. This requires special steel, it's curved because they're gonna curve the bridge. So it doesn't end in a right angle anymore, right into, the pneumatic house. So that special bridge girders that are being custom made. And right now they're on track to be here in time to start the show. I don't know how they get them in on that road, weaving down Hop Road, but they said they can.
Helicopter.
That's how I would look, but I don't think that's how it's going.
So they ought to be putting the new bridge over the greenways. The bridge that's out.
Oh, over Hop River?
Yeah.
Yeah, or the pedestrian bridges, with the state. Not done here.
Okay.
Those were supposed to go in when I was hired 7 years ago. Anyway, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Correspondence. There's a lot there. Read it for yourself. Did they mention us on the guided heights?
Well, I think Leanne is,
Are you doing a guided height here?
be part of that. Yep, that's all. Thank you. You gotta sell it, man.
When we come on your budget process.
So tomorrow night, I'll be presenting the board of selectmen budget for five. And the town superintendent as well.
Good, okay. Budget. We already had things.
Great.
Refunds. I move to approve the payment of refunds. As presented totaling $1,705.03. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Payment of bills, I move to approve the payment of bills totaling $288,742.14, consisting of 23-24 emergency, 23-24 regular, credit card and pay check.
So are we on budget for the Hunt Road?
So far,
$1,800 for those things. Huh?
for what?
Never mind.
So we were talking about earlier about changing the combo for fault, and all that for the code that for three.
The clerk's office had the money put aside from funds that they get through. What the clerk's office does, and they think funds for future investment.
There was, Mary Holly went to Denver. So there's a-
Yes,
Yes, I'm trying to figure what the conference is called. The assessor.
It just, it didn't give any information on where it was going.
Any discussion? Any more discussion, Chad? All those in favor of paying the bills? Aye, opposed? Thank you. Audience of citizens. One at a time, please. Can you get on the chat?
Oh, thank you. No, sir.
Excellent, thank you. Board member comments? Everybody gonna be there tomorrow night?
I will not.
I got another meeting to go to.
I'm just asking. I don't need any.
Email me.
Okay, thank you very much. So no executive session. At this time, I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
And we're adjourning at 8:01.
If you have,